Hey everyone, my name is Jonathan Parr, hypermobility specialist here at Parr. And today's topic is going to be strength and conditioning for hypermobility syndrome. Now, this covers a lot of different secondary conditions related to EDS, maybe Ehlers syndrome. There's a lot of Marfan's, there's a lot of other connective tissue disorders, but really I want to focus on the hypermobility component, which can be very, very tricky, trying to figure out where do I start. Now, in most cases, people will start off by going straight into strength and conditioning. It could be squats, lunges, maybe doing push-ups, but that's not necessarily the best point to start. Now, what people don't really understand is that in most cases with those who have hypermobility or EDS, there's that brain to body disconnect, which causes a lot of compensation, which ends up in a lot of chronic issues, recurrent injuries, pain, and strain. So the idea is that here at Parr, what we do is we try to do the brain to body connection first, as a way to get the body prepared biomechanically for strength and conditioning. Whereas, again, most traditional places start off at, squats or whatever that might be. Now, I'll speak more related to our programs and our basic methodology as to why we start with the brain-body connection as a way to prevent injury first before we actually start to increase strength. Now, typically what happens, there's a big vestibular component that's associated with hypermobility and EDS. And so there's that internal system that doesn't really give you, or that system gives you spatial awareness, but it's not working as well. So your orientation is a bit off, which may cause you to compensate on one side more than the other. Now, when we think about this, when it comes to strength training, imagine if you're loading that joint, let's just use the shoulders as an example, and you're trying to do anything shoulder press or you're trying to do a bench press. If you're already overactivating, let's say upper trap, maybe you're not getting a lot of serratus anterior involvement, you may start changing the way that your shoulders position as a way to still complete that repetition without understanding that that actually is going to cause an injury. So our initial program that we have is specifically for reducing the amount of compensation and really focusing on form. So the idea is, let's get you really, really good at understand how can I move the shoulder without engaging too much of my neck? How can I engage my hips without compensating with over abdominal or even neck as well? So there's a lot of parts of the body that we use to try to create force in another area when it should be really designated to that area. So with the program, and if you're starting very, very basic from the ground up, from lying down to sitting to standing, your body has time to understand, how am I able to recruit the muscle in the most efficient way prior to applying load, which basically is strength training, where you load it with body weight against gravity or resistance bands or dumbbells, whatever that might be. So understanding that to take care of the brain to body connection first is really important prior to doing strength and conditioning, as a way to better prepare your body and have more success with long-term strength training, which most folks that I hear that have hypermobility do not have. So if you're interested in more information, we'll put the QR code here. You can scan it. It actually will tell you a lot of the specifics on different levels and how we progress from lying down to standing, and how we're able to recruit the very small muscles that provide stability prior to involving the major muscles that help greater force production. Our course goes basically into 10 different levels, breaks it down from upper and lower body. It goes into morning routines as a way to basically reintegrate the brain first, and then you're applying the upper or lower body movement, and it's essentially at your own pace. And that's the other thing that is a bit tricky, is that people try to advance too quick when it comes to strength and conditioning, when it should be a slow progressive load, slow progressive pace, as a way for you to really master that skill prior to moving on to the next skill, which is how each level is divvied up in our online program for the fundamentals of strength and conditioning. So if you're anyone out there that's actually looking and trying to understand a little bit more, maybe speaking with your PT about starting at the brain first before starting some strength and conditioning, or clicking on our program and getting more insight and starting a program that will gradually get your body ready for more progressive overload and resistive training.